Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about if statements. Fundamentally, we want to be able to understand when we need or can use an if statement, how to formulate it properly. We want to be able to write if statements from scratch, and in particular, implement them in MATLAB. Okay, let's start by taking a look at what an if statement is. What does a flow chart for an if statement look like? I'll make this just a little bit smaller so we can get it all on a screen at once. Okay, so you start here at the start button. You come down into a statement that has the keyword if, and then there's a condition. And we'll talk about what that is in a moment. But the condition is either true or false. If the condition is true, the logic has you then go down and carry out whatever set of statements or commands follow that. If the condition is not true, you skip those statements and commands. And you come back together after that, and you've ended the if block at this point. So the point is that if the condition is true, you carry out a set of statements that you don't carry out if the condition is false. Let's work through some examples. In terms of syntax, it's really simple. There's an if statement in MATLAB. It has to have a matching end statement. Okay. So here's an example. Example 1. The first thing I do in example 1 is I input something from the keyboard. I say, let's input a number between 1 and 10. Then I have my if statement. So here's the if part, and this is the conditional. So this conditional reads x is greater than 10 or x is less than 1. So I've asked the user to input a number between 1 and 10, and I'm checking here to see if the number is out of bounds. If it's greater than 10 or less than 1, they didn't comply with the request. And so we have them print, sorry, your input was, this prints the number x, and it's not between 1 and 10. Okay? If this condition is false, that statement's not printed. Instead, all you get is a thank you, this example script is complete. So let's run this script a couple times and see what happens. If I run the section, down here at the bottom of my screen, you can see it says input a number between 1 and 10. If I input 9, for example, then over here you see where it said, thank you, this example script is complete. It did not print that line. It evaluated this condition and then jumped all the way to here. It said thank you because this condition was false. Let's try that again. I'm clearing the screen. Let's go up here. Let's run the section. It's asking me for a number between 1 and 10. Let's say I say 0. Now, if you look over here, it did print. It said, sorry, your input was 0, and that's not between 1 and 10. And then after that, it came back and prints this, indicating that the sample script is complete. So the if statement basically evaluated this conditional. If it's true, it executed these statements. If it was not true, it did not execute those statements. Here's another example. Basically the same sort of thing. I'm going to clear my screen. And in this case, we're asking the same question. We're inputting the same thing. But this time, if the number is less than 10 and that it's greater than or equal to 1, then it's complying, right? Any number between 1 and 10, this is going to be true. And so if it's true, it's going to print this statement. It says, excellent, your input was, it'll tell you what the number was, and it is between 1 and 10. And if it's not true, it's going to skip that statement. So it's sort of the same objective, just phrased in a different way. Let's run this. If I go down here to the command line and I say 6, then over here it said, excellent, your number was 6 and it's between 1 and 10. So it did the if statement work just as we thought it should. The condition was determined to be true. It went through and did this. If I run it one more time, and I pick the number 11. This time, it doesn't print the statement indicating the choice was excellent. Instead, it just says, thank you, the script is complete. Okay. So the explanation is, in the second block, the if block contained these lines. There was the if statement and the condition, and there was the print statement. Okay, the if statement, the end of the block is indicated with this associated end statement. It's important and necessary that you have that end statement. Okay. Immediately after the if statement is the condition. Okay, so if the condition is true, which means in this case both x is less than or equal to 10 and x is greater than or equal to 1 have to be true. It's a logical and. If that's true, then you execute the statements in between. You printed that they made an excellent choice. And at the end, it's all completed at the end statement. When you get to the end statement, both branches come back, as was noted here. No matter what you did, it always printed this statement. The if only controls the part that's between the if and the end. Whether this condition is true or not, it'll always come back and start executing the program or executing the commands again after that end statement. Okay, hopefully this was helpful to you in terms of how if statements work.